On the headlines, President Muhammadu Buhari is seeking the approval of the National Assembly to borrow another $4 billion and 710 million pounds as loan from bilateral and multilateral organizations to fund the deficit in the 2021 budget. Now, the president, in a letter to the Senate, said the loan request is an addendum to the 2018 to 2020 borrowing plan. He also asked the lawmakers to approve grant components of $125 million. His request was contained in a letter that was read out by the Senate President Ahmad Lawan at the start of plenary yesterday. Now, the president explained that the need to borrow more funds is to meet emerging needs of some critical projects. The projects listed in the external borrowing plan are to be financed through sovereign loans from the World Bank, French Development Agency, Exim Bank, and IFAD in the total sum of in excess of $4 million, and grant components of $125 million. That's what's contained in the letter. Now, the president also said the loans, when obtained, will stimulate the economy and create job employment. Now, with the current exchange rate of $1 to 550 naira, this new loan of $4 billion will amount to about 2.2 trillion naira. So that is the loan that we're looking for now.
Let's assume, let's round it off, it is 2 trillion naira. When you have 2 trillion naira to about 31 trillion naira we have as a debt, external debt
already. So
it's now become 33 trillion we have before, plus 2 trillion, making 35 trillion. What I now did was that to look at the debt of Benin Republic, Ghana, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire, Guinea-Bissau, all together. When you put all these countries together, their debt is not all to about 40% of Nigerian debt. What it means is this, and we are not producing.
But that's not a fair comparison, though. All these countries you mentioned, they don't have the population that Nigeria has.
Fine. So, but one thing there is this: you should know it is better to be small and not to be a debtor than to be big and be big with debt. One thing that we must know here is this: implication is that, and don't forget, there are some medium short loan. The federal government has extended all those medium term by till 10 years. What it means is this: majority of this loan, our children will pay, our grandchildren will also pay, because the what to service it is going to be increasing. Let me give a very good analysis here. May 18, 2020, the external loan that we service is 2.3 trillion naira that we used to finance budget of 5.6 trillion naira. In July 8, 2021, federal government approved a medium-term expedition framework in Nigeria. By the time you cumulate all these things together, you will now discover that they said they want to use it to improve health care service in Nigeria. Our health center, nothing has happened to them. Federal government owned medical institutions has not improved based on all the money from 2015 down to date. Let's look at the infrastructure. Out of the federal government road, how many ones that you could say it is top notch and it is being finished? Go to Songo Idiroko Road. A lot of people there are lamenting, especially between Songo Underbridge and Iyanota. It is so terrible that I have never seen any worst road like that in my entire life. This road is divided into 5 parts. Into one part, you cannot even go there. Trailer self, you know, if a trailer could swim, what about cars? Now look at the other roads. You see, Lagos Abeokuta Expressway, you want to talk about Ibadan, Lagos Ibadan, that we are celebrating as if be completed. Go to Ilorin Road, go to Mokwa Road, Zaria to Kano Road, Kano to Maiduguri Road, Kazaure Road. Has it improved? Then agriculture and food security. Do you know how much basin of Gari is worth as of today? Do you know how much rice is? Let me now check this. I will not do advert for that particular book. There is one book that I've known for ages that is good for a child preparing for federal common entrance and state common entrance. They used to call that a Ugo. I remember that last 12 years, I bought it for 1,000, maybe 350 naira. Could you believe that last week, no, on Monday, that I had somebody to get it for me. They said they have 2 packs. There is a new edition. They just changed the back. It's 6,000 naira. And the old one is 5,500 naira. Could you think a parent that is sending a child to public primary school will afford that for one book? Oh? One book. And it has English and maths. It's basically for past questions. Well treatment mathematics there. Where I'm now going is this. As it improve our educational system, don't forget, ASU is threatening to go on strike because all those agreements is not there. Go to our federal universities and federal tertiary institutions. As anything improve, even with this loan is good. If you want to improve your physical project that is in tons, you are going to be paying it and you are going to see the effect. In our own case, what it means is this. Federal government is not the only one, no. States. In fact, in Lagos State, someone who is trying to borrow 25 billion naira and he has signed the green bond market agreement, 25 billion naira. Don't forget the one he signed, the one he collected immediately he got to power. It's not only someone low, all the states, majority of the states, they are taking more loan. Who is going to pay this loan? We don't produce as much as we are produced. The China we are dealing with, we are just consuming China. China is not consuming anything from us. The same other countries. What it means is this: our naira is going to be affected. We will continue servicing the loan, and they will be very, very happy because the more you service the loan, their still debt is still there. You are just servicing the loan. The more to the years you want to. How come we can have a surplus budget in Nigeria? It's not possible. I've not seen that economics.
People on social media are asking several questions, as to the need to continuously borrow money, whose effect, like you rightly pointed out, is missing on the welfare of the Nigerian people. Let's not forget that barely 2 months ago, just 2 months ago, the National Assembly approved the request to borrow $8.3 billion and also 490 million pounds, and this is supposed to be put into sectors that cut across infrastructure, health, agriculture, food security, energy, power, COVID-19, and so on. All the sectors I mentioned, which one actually looks like there's been any kind of intervention? That is a big question. Femi?
I'm going to look at it from a different perspective. While I honestly agree with my brother's submission, in all fairness, and I love how he ended his analysis by looking into states, because most times when we now look at Nigeria's, when they analyze Nigeria's debt DBO to GDP, is a summation of both the federal and the states. But most people look at it only from the state, from the federal angle, and think it is the president or the presidency that is responsible for some of this. And whereas the debt accumulation of some of these states and how they are doing nothing. And until all of us, the challenge I have with Nigerians is that if corruption is prospering and my kinsman is benefiting from it, it's better you look away. They want you to look away. But once it's someone else, everybody wants to form righteousness and begin to holler at that. And until we begin to call a spade, that's when we can really actually hold our leaders accountable, because they will know that irrespective of where they come from, nobody will spare them. Now, so that's why some of them are hiding under all of this. I can give you instances of analysis I've been able to do. I'll give you an instance. Now, take for instance, Adamawa State. From 47.2 billion to 95.2 billion between December 31st, 2015 and March 2021. What do they have to show for that percentage increase? Nothing. That's 102% debt increase. Adamawa. I chose some states. I have analysis of all the states, but I was specific about some states. I will mention Anambra, our very own Anambra state. From 3.58 billion, it increased to 59. I will repeat, 3.58 billion to 59.71 billion in March 31st, 2021. That represents 1,567.88% increase.
Wow.
One state. Now, when we now do all of the analysis, it falls like Nigeria's debt. I don't know, maybe you get my point. Let me. I've picked Adama. Let me come to the south. I can come to the south. He explained about Lagos State. I'm angry. I'm really angry. But the truth is there are two options which I've questioned quite a lot of economists. You know, because I'm in an higher institution, and you know we have a lot of people that are book whatever, book economics, and they said the second option to avoiding borrowing is actually taxation. If they toe the line of taxation, then I'm sure that the effect will be worse, because definitely just ordinary VAT that we are talking about. From my brother, we went to an entry to buy something. I now saw that there is VAT and there's also sales tax. It's written in the receipt that they pay
on one commodity.
On just one commodity, and I'm asking, is it only VAT? That is now
taxation. I found that too when I bought something the other day.
I was
not
like,
right in any way.
Looking at that angle, then if they move towards taxation, then almost every single they will not even be able to exempt anything. Now, the challenge we have with our leaders, the point is this, like he said, that it is not a crime to borrow, but because borrowing is better than taxation. But the challenge we have with our leaders is the sincerity in what they use, whatever they get, the funds they get for. How will even state and federal government do bailouts for states and they will still refuse to pay salary? When we were told specifically, okay, federal has taken this money, we want to give you to use this money to pay salary so that you can cushion it. Okay, let us arrange how you are going to pay back. And yet some governors refuse to use it to pay salaries. Then these same governors will still approach IMF, will still approach to ask for loans, and their House of Representatives, State House of Assembly members will not say anything because they know how to grease their palm. So I think going forward, we may not be able to do more than talks, except we are interested in those who evolve as our leaders. See, I won't lie to you, within that generation gap, they have that same mentality, and we have been recycling them, and they have that mentality, and once they borrow, it is to affect their life. You see that their life just moves up, and funny enough, government will do intervention, they will write off some stuff, government will do intervention, they are richer. At worst, if the financial crimes commissions go after them, they will do plea bargain. Take some and release some. So you know, when there is no consequence, I don't know, maybe you get my point. When there are no consequences for all of it, or even a governor at worst will see the Senate as his retirement home.
Issue is,
why would that same governor that is now in the Senate not allow the federal government to borrow?
Did you know how federal government want to really finance what they borrow? Number one, they said they are going to use sovereign loans from World Bank, because that is what the Senate asked them, that okay, if you are taking this loan,
how do we pay back?
How do you pay back? They said, one, sovereign loans from World Bank. What is sovereign loans? The loans that have been deposited to you, not for free, but for a longer time. That means I borrowed from you, I later borrowed from you. When you want to take your own money, or I'll be paying little, I'll take from him out of his own, I'll be paying you little by little. As that one, I'm servicing you, I've not paid the real loan. Your loan is still there. His own loan is still there. So if I want to pay him, I'll get another person. Then another one, they said Fresh Development Agency. Fresh Development Agency would do for a very longer time, like that Sukuk bond, which the interest is going to be narrow or nothing. But I'm still owing, you know. It's just that the interest is so low, they want to use that one. China Exim Bank, that one will put our hand into the oil of China, to the extent that it pays them. What makes it pays them is this: assuming we are producing, we can be exchanging. They are the one producing for us.
Consuming.
Rain, they are the one that will do for all. Iron, they are the one producing. That is why they are put out to work. to the maximum, it's going to be very difficult because it's going to go at the detriment of the China that we're already. Then another thing again is that if you know the number of Nigerians going to China for one product, look at the engineering product, look at the mechanical product, look at the production product and everything. So what it means is that within China Exim Bank is going to pay them because they are producing more for us and we are not producing. International Fund for Agricultural Development, we've collected this money severally. There is nothing to show for it. Things are still going to cost. Now in Ekiti, to buy bread, the one that we are clamoring for months in Lagos, they are now clamoring for them.
They just called off the strike.
So what it means is that then Credit Suisse Group and Standard Chartered and China Export Credit is another way of credit. We are taking credit to pay for credits, and that's
all right. So the thing is, all these loans, that we've taken as a country over time, are basically pumped into. I beg to be corrected, almost the same project.
Yes.
Almost the same project,
yes.
Cutting across infrastructure. Now, if we break it down a bit, correct me, gentlemen, in terms of infrastructure, what can you say the Nigerian citizens are really enjoying in terms of infrastructure? If we're going to talk about the rail project, it's still an ongoing one. I don't think... And it's expensive. It's not affordable for a poor Nigerian. Going from here to Ibadan, for general class is over 2,000. I can bet you a poor Nigerian will get to beggar. From beggar down to Ibadan, you will not spend 1,000. There are some people there are some things we call ajawo. Ajawo is that you take, no, it's not even sole. Okay.
You take Shagamu bypass. That one could be 200. They have a way where they normally stay, 200 or 300. From that one, you move forward a little bit, go to where we have FRIC, we get 300 or 400 to Ibadan. So you don't want that person to go and be taking 2,000 naira for it.
Half of your lifespan is gone. Just you trying to get to Ibadan.
That is okay. If you are going to Ibadan, especially on Friday,
oh my goodness,
anything from MK Abiola Garden, you will be seeing people. That's why you see that for poor people, go and see those people buying all those rail. They are still those people that to them it pay them, because some of them they want to take flights. So by now having 2,000, 6,000,
I'm going somewhere.
That is the problem.
Infrastructure. I started with that. Which one can we point to really that we are enjoying? Health. They're pumping these loans into the health sector. Is there anything feasible for us to see in the health sector? Really? That's a question we all have to answer. Don't forget, the doctors have been on strike for how long now? Okay. All right. Agriculture. Is there anything sustainable about any agricultural projects of the government so far? There's one.
Yes.
Which one is that?
Because our former Minister for Agriculture, Sabo Nanono, that was sacked recently, used the money that is meant for agriculture to buy seeds, to buy fertilizer, and build mosques for farmers. I'm a Muslim, but it is so what is meant for agriculture. That you're supposed to buy seedlings for them, you're supposed to get fertilizer for them, you're supposed to have a cushion effect, and he divided AFAM. AFAM is All Farmers Association. He divided them before he goes.
That's an achievement. Okay, in terms of food security, if you have average Nigerian, feeding in Nigeria now is one of the most expensive things right now, all right? Food products, very, very expensive. Literally everything. Everything is times 3 or 4 times the normal price, all right? Energy. COVID-19. These are all the projects, the sectors, all these loans, all the ones we have been borrowing plus the ones we are borrowing now. These are the sectors they are still going into. And then the question is, what really can we point to?
If you allow me to say something
quickly, sir.
As an entrepreneur myself, I've come to, because personally I borrow. As an entrepreneur, as a businessman,
every businessman will borrow.
As an entrepreneur, I borrow. Now, the challenge, like the both of us have identified, is how they effectively manage, or for the sake of which they borrow. We don't borrow for consumption.
Or for burial.
Yeah, we don't do all of that. Now, the challenge I have is this. I'm of the opinion that when they want to borrow, during borrowing, after borrowing, Nigerian leaders don't take time to analyze situation. Let's take a good instance that we didn't plan for COVID. No country actually planned for COVID. COVID happened. You already owing. Now, there was also lockdown, and several sectors were largely affected. Definitely, you initially looked into borrowing so that at least the sector can pick up and it won't collapse the entire economy. But other sectors are affected. Now, so doing one at the expense of the other is making you will not find out that too many would have been affected, and that way you are trying to cushion the effect will also go worse. So going forward, we should learn to solve our problems the Nigerian way.
Yeah.
I need to be very frank with you.
Yeah.
We should learn to localize our solutions. And until we begin to think like that, time is not aside. I can give you instances.
We're going to come back.
But until we begin to think like that, we may not have a way forward.
Thank you, Femi. All right, we're still looking at the president asking Senate to approve fresh external loans, all right, because there are projects that needs to be completed, and also to help with the 2021 budget.